of Donald Trump. What they did do is they did try to change all the other things to sort of, let's say, minimize the damage of some of his bad decisions. But what they didn't do is they didn't leak, they didn't undermine him, they didn't try to countermand him. And I think there was some general persuasion and discussions that we never heard. If that structure holds true, and this is an if, then I think this White House will look a lot more like the campaign, where you had the professionals in charge who did professional things to help win, and it will look a little less like the House of Horrors that a lot of critics see. Those are ifs in Trump's favor, in the favor of people who hope that this White House won't be dysfunctional. The person who sort of masterminded that MAGA Serenity Prayer fueled campaign, who was the campaign co-manager, Susie Wiles, is the chief of staff. But we're just going to have to wait and see.
We'll see. Mark, back to the picks just for a minute here. You quote a senior aide to a Republican senator as saying this, quote, Trump has all these guys. It's all over but the shouting. Unless the unexpected happens, Trump is getting his picks. My boss, this senior aide to a senator says, is very popular in his state, but he knows if it becomes a choice between him and Trump, he's going to lose, and he's going to lose badly. So does someone like Senator Joni Ernst hear the footsteps of a potential primary challenge, really? Someone who has won a couple of times in her state, who's popular there. Lisa Murkowski, Susan Collins, you can go down the line. These are popular senators who've won many times in their state. Do they really fear a primary enough to vote for people they know are wholly unqualified for their jobs?
Good question. Joni Ernst, in that story I reported there, this was according to a Trump senior advisor who was informed of this from an intermediary who was told by Ernst when this blowback started, and apparently it was organic, how do I make this stop? Basically, Ernst was already in the sort of Roberto Duran no mas mode, like, I don't want to deal with this. And so she started to move toward Hegseth. Now, Murkowski and Collins especially, occupy a different position. This is a numbers game. The Trump transition team is not interested in bipartisanship. He won, they feel it's a mandate. Yes, that can certainly be disputed, but there are 53 Republican senators. And so the way they look at it is they just need to get 50 votes because J.D. Vance will be the vice president. That'll get them to 51 and they win. So what does that mean? They can only lose 4. So they're trying to get 50 plus 1. If anyone stands in their way and they can exact retribution on them and they can make them pay, they will. But ultimately, this is a team that's focused with its eyes on the prize, and that means getting his cabinet picks confirmed. RFK starts next week, by the way, his touring, his meeting with senators on the Hill. That's going to be quite a scene. The Politico's reporting that he's going to have trouble there. The people that I've spoken to in the Senate still think he's going to make it, but you know, we got a lot of ball to play and a lot of time until January 20th when the new president takes office.
I was just going to say, we're talking about Hegseth, we're talking about Tulsi Gabbard, we're talking about Kash Patel. We haven't even gotten to RFK. And there are Republicans that are so horrified by that. You look, though, it's important, you look at Joni Ernst, she's up in 26, so she has to worry about a primary. You look at Susan Collins, the same thing. But with Susan Collins especially, the problem is, Mark, okay, so great. You figure out how to get past the primary. You then have to win in a deep blue state. And are you going to win in a deep blue state if you're Susan Collins and you support Pete Hegseth, you support Kash Patel, you support Tulsi Gabbard, you support RFK Jr.? Very difficult there. And then you look at people like Mitch McConnell. You look at Bill Cassidy. You look at others that are up in 28 and even those who are up in 30 after Donald Trump leaves office. Those people obviously are people that John Thune can work with more if they are trying to figure out how to move these votes around.
National political reporter for The Bulwark, Mark Caputo, thank you very much for your reporting this morning.
Thanks, guys.
That's fascinating. Can we show the graphic one more time of his article? Now, usually, I think people would be offended if this is how they were depicted. But I will say the people that were talking to Mark Caputo probably were thinking, I like that graphic. I like it a lot.
Oh, my. Okay.
Come on.
Yikes.
Yikes.
All right. Thank you, Mark.
All right.
Time now for a look. Take care.
Make a statue of that, Pablo.
Wow.
Coming up, we talk to another of the candidates to be the next chair of the DNC. You're watching a special holiday edition of Morning Joe.
Want ether exposure? Look for ETH, Grayscale Ethereum Mini Trust ETF. Low-cost exposure to the second largest cryptocurrency. From Grayscale, the crypto specialist. Type ETH into your investment account today. ETH, Grayscale Ethereum Mini Trust ETF.
How you build should be just as rewarding as what you build. That's why there's Autodesk Construction Cloud. Autodesk keeps everything transparent, letting everyone see the big picture, whether they're in office or in the field. While he gets up-to-date data to help solve issues before they start. And with connected workflows, everyone on her team is in sync and working efficiently. This is what construction should look like. And Autodesk Construction Cloud makes it happen.
The holidays are here. Take in the magic.
Happy holidays!
We're gonna need a bigger tree.
Spread some joy.
Hey, honey, you okay? Everything's fine.
Appreciate the little things.
No. Drop it.
Good girl. Hey, did I set the alarm?
And find some peace of mind.
Yes, you did.
Wherever you're headed this holiday, with Ring, you're always home. Learn more at ring.com.
What if you could not only feel better, but feel better than ever? Hone Health helps men like you boost energy, strength, libido, and weight loss. You'll work with a dedicated physician to create a personalized, proactive plan. Treatment is delivered to your home, helping you relieve symptoms quickly while confidently reaching your long-term health goals. Enter into a new era of you, beginning with your comprehensive at-home test from honehealth.com.
I'm interested in trying these new weight loss shots, but I need it to be more affordable
because my insurance doesn't cover it.
I'm not sure which online provider to trust, and I want to ask a doctor a lot of questions.
The secret's out. At Henry Meds, our knowledgeable providers demystify compounded semaglutide, the same active ingredient in brand name weight management meds. If you're eligible for treatment, your medication will be shipped to your door for just $297 a month. You can save thousands by using Henry Meds for weight management medication.
When you need brutal honesty, when you need answers first thing in the morning, when you need to go deep inside Washington and hear from someone who's been there, you need your Morning Joe, weekdays at 6, only on MSNBC.
Welcome back. The race is on for the Democratic National Committee chair. The Young Democrats of America held the first candidate forum of the race during its winter meeting last week. Former Maryland Governor Martin O'Malley, Minnesota Democratic Party Chair Ken Martin, Wisconsin Democratic Party Chair Ben Wickler, and New York State Senator James Skoufis all took part. And New York State Senator Skoufis joins us now. Welcome to Morning Joe.
So good to have you here. We have the most powerful Democrat in America who's sitting next to you. So why don't you ask the first question,
Reverend Al? Take it.
James, let me ask you this. Over the last 3 decades, we've seen the fight in the Democratic Party. Back in, say, the late 80s, 90s, it was the Democratic Leadership Council against Rainbow Coalition, then Howard Dean and I ran in that cycle against the more moderates. How do you see you running as a new face nationally, trying to bring the party together rather than having these torn sides, which only leads to ultimate defeat of the Democratic Party when you have the conservative or the so-called moderate side against those that are more progressive?
This is the core question, right? How do we rebuild the once big Democratic tent, the tent that's fraying on both edges? And I've done this for the past 12 years daily. I come from a district that Donald Trump just won by 12 points.
But you won by 14.
I won it by 14. He's won my district 3 times. And so I live and breathe every day coalition building. And how do we bring back folks under that big tent that we used to? We haven't dominated in a national election since 2008. It's been 16 years since we've had a dominant performance. We've either white-knuckled it across the finish line or we've lost. And the next DNC chair, I believe the single most important thing that he must do or she must do is throw out the old D.C. playbook. It just hasn't worked in a long time. And if you're a candidate in this race who's been at the table, who has been a DNC lifer, and you haven't delivered that change in the 5, 10, 15 years you've had a seat at that table, who's going to expect you're going to deliver that change as DNC chair? This moment calls for an outsider, an aggressive outsider, who knows how to win. And that's why I'm running for this race.
The BBC's Caddy Kaye's with us from Washington has a question for you. Caddy.
So, James, I was interested to read what you've written about this, about moving fast. And you've said that we're in a moment that is of realignment, that is anti-elite, anti-corporate and strictly populist. Can you talk not so much about the policy side of things, because I think the Harris campaign had policies that were on the books that were helping working class Americans, but maybe they just didn't cut through. But can you talk about the character and the style, what my kids would call the vibe of the candidate that you see who can break through to and seem authentically connected to working class Americans at the moment? How important is that to you, and what does that look like?
That's right. The next DNC chair, this isn't a policy-making role. I'll give you an example that I think underscores exactly what you're talking about.
You kind of represent how you see the aura of the party.
Of course. So I spoke with a DNC member in Arizona a few days ago, obviously a battleground state, and she told me that she got upwards in the heat of the campaign 16 big glossy mailers a day, daily, from the National Democrats. And I've run a lot of campaigns. I've won all of them. There is nothing that the 16th mailer is doing that the 15th mailer was not doing. And so we have to get away as a party from the DC consultant class, from the folks who I'm referring to as the cocktail circuit, and shift our attention and our focus and our resources to the boots on the ground, the party loyalists, the faithful, who are actually moving the needle and are in the trenches. Our friends in organized labor feel that they've been taken for granted for cycles and cycles. And I don't just want to be the DNC chair that picks up the phone and frantically calls them when I need folks at a rally, boots on the ground. I want them in the room when we're developing the strategy, the guidance, how to move forward with rebuilding the working class that we've lost. I come from a union class, a union household, a working class household, and we need to get back to talking to the folks who, quite frankly, feel completely disconnected from the Democratic Party. We use overly academic language as if we're running for university chancellor. Sometimes we got to start becoming relatable again as Democrats.
So, Senator Skoufis, you have won your district each time Donald Trump has won in your district. If you become the chair of the DNC, how do you go to Washington and get the collected brainiacs at the top of the Democratic Party? I say that lightly. All you hear from them is, how could people vote for Donald Trump? Or the alternative they use is, how can people be so stupid? How do you tell those other Democrats that the people who voted for Donald Trump are not stupid?
You're 100% right. We've gotten into this bad habit as a party of lecturing people, telling them what they should think, how they should feel. If they don't agree on the border, they're racist. If they don't agree on X or Y or Z, they're stupid, as you just stated. And look, the next DNC chair has to do a lot of rebuilding of our coalition. And the perfect example is the conflict in Gaza, where because we've walked on eggshells, because we have not engaged